have the 2021 degree plan that I was admitted with, and if you look at these classes, 82% of them will not be offered.
So I think you probably understand that I'm low vision and can't read this.
I'll read it to you, no problem.
So I think it's, it's interesting that you present that to me.
Public speaking,
so,
interpersonal communication,
I'd like to
mass
start
media, mass communication law, media ethics, communication theory, internship in communication, news writing and reporting, news editing, public relations 1, journalism for the media, public relations 2, covering the criminal justice system, convergence, journalism practicum, feature writing, beginning digital media, advanced digital media, editing for the digital media, journalism for the media, digital audio production, performing for the media, intro to media management, motion graphics for digital media practicum, persuasion and argumentation, nonverbal communication, rhetorical dimensions of the media, social impact of the media, small group interaction, propaganda and mass communication, senior thesis, understanding film, intro to screenwriting, film and society, advanced screenwriting, Italian cinema, American film from pitch to screen, the filmmaking business, and film practicum.
I'm happy to leave if that's the consensus, but my party comment is we're a Catholic university where truth and transparency are supposed to matter. And not only are you trying to include parents, you're trying to include...
I'm happy to meet with parents and with faculty individually because I think that's where we need to focus, is on our students and their needs. I'm really excited about doing that. So what I'd like to do is, we've already had a student ask us to remove these things, so let's remove those too, okay?
Are you guys communication students?
I'm in a communications class.
What I'd like to do is provide a space that's available for everyone to talk. I think if you read the email, it said communication students and those in the classes. So that's why I'd like you to take this down so that we can have that conversation.
We will not be taking it. We all have expressed concern. We all would love for this to be here. The only person who is simply is one student versus the entire crowd in here. So I think that if you're listening to the voices, please select.
I want to listen to all voices, right? And to do that, we need to have a place that feels safe for people. So if that's the intent, is to create a place where we can talk, that would be great. If it's not that, then I don't know what you're trying to do.
So you're talking about the students, very interesting, considering one of their students. So if you want to one person.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Alexa O'Malley.
Alexa O'Malley?
Alexa O'Malley, yes. Nice to meet you.
It's good to see you. And what is your major?
Communication.
And who is your advisor?
My advisor, I believe it's actually...
Hi, welcome everyone. Everyone can please take a seat. We have been honored with the presence of Dr. Ludwick. Dr. Ludwick, we're lucky and very grateful to speak to you today. If we can just get this meeting started. Really quick. If everyone can take a seat, please. So today we're here to listen to communication students' voices. And we have the president of the university here, as well as, I think, 4 parents total. And we're really, really grateful to have everyone here. I would love for us to have just a really transparent conversation. Right now, we've immediately hit a little bit of conflicts because we have, I believe, 2 students who want the live stream taken down. We have 4 students who want it. We have all of the students here, that want it to be kept up, and that's how we feel safe. And we also have 4 parents here that support the live streaming. And if they are going to be asked to leave, as well as faculty, we ask that we leave the live streaming up so that they can be in the know of what's going on.
So what I'd like to do is meet with faculty separately, because we're always open to that and have been. And I'd like to also meet with the students' parents and their students individually so that we can make sure that we answer all of their questions. And this forum is intended for our students, and it should be a place without the live stream so that people feel free to comment as they will. Because I understand people come with different agendas, but what we want to do is create a place where our students thrive and succeed, and the future of the communications program is bright. But in order to get there, we have to do it in a less combative way.
No, I absolutely agree. We have to reach a compromise. I would ask for the compromise that since it's not going to be live streamed, we can record.
I would prefer that it not be recorded.
Would the students prefer it to be recorded? Or not? Please raise your hand if you would like for this meeting to be recorded. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Please raise your hand if you do not want this meeting to be recorded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've reached a democratic agreement of leaving it recorded, but not live streaming because we are compromising.
No, we didn't reach that.
Yes, we did.
You're dictating that as part of what this forum is about. And this forum is to be a conversation, not a media spectacle that was designed and apparently thought of beforehand. So I'd like to have a conversation with the students. If the students don't want to have that conversation, I guess that's a choice. But just like last week, there was an opportunity for the students to have a conversation in the presidential forum that the student government hosted, and that was not taken advantage of. Instead, there was a video anonymously posted. And that's something that I think is unfortunate.
Texas is a one-party consent state, and we are able to utilize that for this purpose.
Well, I understand that.
So legally, we can record. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and get started. If you could refrain from interrupting me, I would really appreciate that, because you have had, again, 8 months to address this, and so I believe it is my turn to speak.
So let's talk about what your chief concern is. What is your chief concern? Does anyone have a concern?
I'll go ahead.
I have a concern, yeah. My chief concern is the nature of the video that was put out. I feel like it's emotionally manipulative, tonally manipulative. They use they sandwich a libelous claim about a man's character in between maybe some administrational critiques. It was published, again, anonymously, without really recourse. And I understand they say that they've been in communication with the administration, but I found that the entire ordeal troubled me very much as a student.
I'd like to respond to that. My name is Jacqueline Jordan.
So what I'd like to do-
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, we are trying to
No.
hear from the
I am
students.
speaking.
I would like you to
I am
direct your
speaking.
comments to me.
Okay. My name is Jacqueline Jordan, and I am the student.
So
who is-
Jacqueline,
Yes.
who is your advisor, please?
I guess it would be Anthony Joseph, because I'm a graduate student.
Have you graduated from the undergraduate program here?
No, I have not. I'm the student who was mercilessly, religiously
So,
discriminated against
are-
in the classroom.
Are you a
I am.
graduate student?
Yes, I am.
So you're taking graduate classes now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good, thank you.
My graduation is in a few weeks, actually.
Excellent.
But I am the student who
Congratulations.
was humiliated in front of their peers repeatedly. The second a Catholic professor at your university found out I was a Protestant.
Well,
Do you think-
I
what do you
would
have to
not
say to
condone that in any way.
Do you think it's acceptable to employ faculty who treat students that way? So can you answer my question about why it's acceptable to employ faculty who humiliate non-Catholic students in the classroom?
We want all of our students to have the feeling of being honored and the dignity of each human person realized. That's exactly what we want.
So then why is it that when reports came out of a professor behaving in that way, he was not reprimanded?
Do you know that for
I
certain?
do know that for certain, actually.
Actually, I think that the facts are still unclear, at least as you present them. So what we're doing
And why do you
is
say
following
that?
up on that process. The timeline for it to unfold has not happened yet, and so it is currently underway. I won't comment on the particularities of that while that's underway. But I thank you for bringing it forward because that is an important issue that we always want to take very seriously.
Well, I brought it forward last May in a course evaluation. I brought it forward in January in a formal letter written. I brought it forward during 2 different meetings with Angie Maxey. I also brought it forward during 2 different meetings with Martin Walker.
And I thank you for doing that. That's exactly what we want you to do.
And yet nothing has come of it.
That process is still unfolding. And I think that even as late as today, there have been other conversations about that.
Absolutely, with me.
Okay, well, so you understand that it's happening. Thank you.
And Jackie, can you mention what they told you in that meeting really quick?
Absolutely. I'll say his name. When Professor Kujan found out I was a Protestant, he would demean me and say, well, Jacqueline, you're the Protestant in class. And Protestants don't respect the Holy Sacraments. And they don't respect the sanctity of marriage, which is an insult to my mother and father, who've been married for over 40 years. Do you think that's okay?
I don't think that's okay.
So I personally think that this needs to be fast-tracked because no one belongs on this campus who speaks that way.
So, as you know, that process is still unfolding, even as late as today. So let's let that run its course and see where it goes. I think you'll be pleased with its outcome.
Will it lead to Adam being fired?
That would be prejudging the situation, and that's something I'm not going to do, and I'm also not going to talk about personnel issues relative to these issues.
Jesse, can you come up here really quick?
Thank you all for being here today. For months, we have tried to resolve these issues internally. We have informed HR, who this morning threatened Jackie with withholding graduation if she spoke out about the religious discrimination. We have informed legal counsel, the Dean of Students, Office of Disability Service, the interim CFO, Jose Diaguila, the SAC-SCOC Review Committee, Chris Bourne and Pina George, each member of VPAA leadership chain, Evan Horn, Lockard, Hayes, Baird, Monahan, all 32 board members, and you, Dr. Ludwick. This is our last course of action, and it is not to be taken lightly. We've exhausted all other avenues, and we are bringing these demands before you to give you a chance to rectify the program before we take legal action. In the words of Jennifer Funk, a UST Comms 2022 alum, I was cheated and blatantly lied to by your admissions department and administration. And by the time I had figured out it was too late to change schools without having to start over, since very few of my credits would transfer. You have driven away valued professors such as Olivia Bornesia, Marie Fernandez Puerto, Erica McDonald, Jeff Olson, Patty Shea, Dwayne Bradley, and Dr. Caesar Wright. We have received email from former faculty, alums, majors from the English, business, drama, nursing, and engineering programs about the same corruption infecting our programs. I assure you we have documentation backing up all of our claims. I invite Desi to present our demands.
Thank you, Alexei. My name is Desi Dolbaya. I have been a student here for 5 years. I am an undergraduate. I initially came to the school to major in biology, but I swapped to my communication major once I took a public speaking course with Olivia Bornesia. Her course in dictation gave me a new sense of wonder and appreciation for communication and social interaction. The way I hold myself today is a direct influence of her teaching, and it saddens me that she was driven out of the program due to the negligence of our communication program. Today, I will list to you the demands we wish to be met. Our demands include restoring Dr. Caesar Wright's professorship effective immediately, the removal of Adam Pujan effective immediately, for the university to restore all illuminated communication courses and ensure that students have the courses available each semester so that they graduate on time. This includes undergraduate and graduate courses. This will be accomplished by contacting professors who previously taught at the university to see if they're willing to come back and teach the removed classes. Action to unmerge the communications and English departments and remove core fellow Martin Lockard from chairing either department. And finally, to remove Chris Evans as Vice President of Academic Affairs. I now invite Abdullah to come speak up and speak on Dr. Wright and what he has done for the communication program.
May I come up as well, does it?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to address some of these things, or is this just for you to talk only and not hear from the university?
What would you like to say?
I'd like to answer those demands and put some context to it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So the communications department is a good department. The question about its merger into English is one that didn't happen. There is an interim director for both of those departments, but the communications department still stands on its own, right? According to the audits that we've done for progress toward graduation, all of our students who are slated to graduate this semester are going to do that.
Well, that's this semester. What about next semester?
For the next semester, the same thing is happening, and so we'll work with those students to make sure that that happens.
Are you
right?
offering the programs that were promised and advertised?
So what I'd like to do is address the question there, and that was, is it going to happen? And that's where we are. It will happen, and so we will take care of the students as we look toward their graduation and their internships and the courses that they need. So as we move forward, we're very excited about the future of communications. As you know, communications continues to evolve, and so as we have an opportunity to change the program for the future, it's really an important time for us to do that. We're looking forward to that.
Dr. Ludwick, your communications department is too understaffed to fulfill any promises right now.
There is currently a search for the chair of the department, and we are looking for other faculty as well. So we have faculty members who are teaching, and we have others who will come on board.
So 5 faculty members will let go?
I'm sorry, is this about you 3 only, or do we have other students?
No, it's about everyone.
Right, okay, good. So I'd like to hear from other students as well.
Right here.
To say something, can I come up and make my statement?
Yeah.
Sure.
But we would you mind, would it be mind if we say our little piece first? Because actually you bring up it segues well into what we want to talk about with the faculty and stuff like that. If you wouldn't mind us speaking about Professor Wright.
All right. We request for Dr. Caesar Wright's professorship to be restored. As previously stated, we'd like this to be effective immediately. He has been an invaluable asset to UST's communications department. Under him, 22 courses were added to the spring 2022 and fall 2023 semester. Under him, many students have been able to attain internships. A select few students were able to attain an internship with Fox 26, the first of its kind, one that would not normally be agreed to. Many students here can attest to that. Furthermore, under him, the student-run anti-human trafficking podcast, Unmuted, which many students here are members of, received not only national attention, but was also able to take part in helping form Texas legislation on anti-human trafficking. And Alex, you had things you wanted to say?
Of course, of course. I hope nobody minds if I read off of a little script I wrote. Throughout my long career as a student, learning in different schools, states, school systems, public, private, etc., there's been one instructor that has stood out to me for his value towards me. That instructor was Professor Wright. Professor Wright's skills and experience in the fields of communication that we wish to involve ourselves in are invaluable and cannot be understated. His experience with cameras, productions, sets, lighting, public interaction, interpersonal interaction, and so much more are professional level. His passion for teaching and ability to impact each and every one of his students is second to none. And I can confidently say that the value of the UST education would decline steeply with the departure of Professor Wright, or dismissal, however you may see it. And I think that anyone you may ask that has had a class with him, or knows of him, or has interacted with him, would also agree with me. I would say ask anyone on the ground, and they'd agree with me.
We'd also like to request for the professorships of Dr. Marie Fernandez Cueto, Dwayne Bradley, Jeff Olson, Patty Shea, and Erica McDonald to be restored as well.
I would like to finish that by saying there's very few things that I'm passionate about school-wise, and Professor Wright has brought that out in me, and I don't think I'd be the level of student that I am without him coming into this university. I remember my freshman year I had a public speaking class with him, and it changed my life, I can say, and I've never been able to say that about any class, any professor, so it would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to me, and I would hope everyone in this room, if he stuck around and was able to impact our lives like he does every day.
It would be the world to me.
So my name is Richard Gutierrez. I am a senior here majoring in communications. I've had classes with Dr. Hugen for the past 3 semesters. This is actually the first semester that I haven't had a class with Adam Hugen. And here's what I'll say in regards to what has been brought up.
Who's your advisor?
Adam Hugen.
Okay.
And actually, when I met with him March 22nd, in regards to registering for next semester, he just said, I'll get back to you because we'll have to figure that out later. That's concerning. But
so
that's just
you're graduating? You said?
Next semester.
Okay, in the fall.
Right.
Okay.
But that's just him as an advisor. Him as a professor, I mean, you could make the argument that he has brought so much value to this institution. That's great. The problem is that we have complaints regarding the Title IX and Title VII under his name. In any other institution, in any other workforce, he would be removed immediately. So that this ongoing process that is going on with him, the solution is just to remove him. Because that is unacceptable at a place here.
Do you think that any investigation should be made into these claims, or should he just be discarded?
There has been an investigation.
The investigation or the process is ongoing, but in reality, it's just being stalled.
I understand. I guess I'm just confused that we're asking for his immediate removal without the full carriage of justice. It seems like we should wait for it to come full circle for it to be able to be resolved.
This happened a year ago.
I understand. I think that sometimes good things take time, and things that take time are worth doing.
But if Adam Hugen had any remorse for the situation after he was informed of how deeply offended and I was, why on earth would he not speak to his department chair and request that we have a group meeting so that he could apologize to me? I have received no apology or acknowledgement of his behavior from him at all, ever, one single time. And to me, that means he doesn't really feel very bad about it.
If the investigation has taken this long, maybe it's because they're
not finding that your claims are completely substantial?
Well, I have witnesses to what happened. I have a classroom full of students who witnessed it, so.
This is an important issue that, as you know, is still ongoing and it's unfolding. And we will take action where action is warranted. And you can rest assured with that. What I'd like to do is move the conversation away from the personalities of the professors, if we could, and talk about the department's future and what your vision for that is. Because I think that's going to be the really important piece as you become professionals in communication out in the world.
I'd like to have enough courses to actually graduate on time.
And you will.
I won't already. And I was supposed to graduate next semester with a communications degree. I am now, at best, going to be graduating a year from now.
Well, I have it on good authority from the department and from the school that those courses that you need will be available for you.
At what point in time?
I'm sorry.
At what point in time is what I said.
Well, if you're looking at next fall, those are the courses that you'll need. Those will be available then.
But 2 of those courses are public speaking, and all of these students have already taken that class because it's an entry-level class.
Oh yeah, sometimes students have to substitute like an English class, but they're not paying for an English degree, they're paying for a communication degree. Or they have to retake a class, but they've already earned that credit.
Yes, my degree is filled with substitutions. Even if we can graduate, where's the quality that we pay for? Where's the quality that my mom works every single day to pay for, tirelessly?
So the quality for our institution is very high, and you can look at how the students, even last year, with 100% placement for our communications graduates, that's a pretty good track record.
Would you say the quality and the value?
I'm sorry?
They're taking substitutive courses. These aren't the communications courses listed on the website, but if I go on right now, I can sign up. A freshman can go sign up for a communications degree that you are not offering. Instead, our advisors are telling us, take an English class, take a elective with photography, do something that's not what was promised to you, and that's the issue. We're also lacking accreditation. These are bigger issues than just personality. We not only want to graduate, we want to be able, our employers need to trust us.
Our university is fully accredited by SAC-COC.
The communications department is lacking. If it goes through a test right now, we would lack it. We do not have enough courses. We have all the paperwork available that we would be really happy to give to anyone if they would just sit down and talk to us. This is the first time we're able to do this. And I would love to do it very respectfully. And everyone here has a lot of emotions, and I'm sure you can sense that. We would really love to come to a compromise for the university that is good for you and for us, because it's not good for the university to upset students and future media professionals of Houston. It really isn't. On top of the fact that we weren't listened to until the Houston Chronicle showed interest, KPRC showed interest, KHOU and Fox was called on your desk. We were not listened to until it circulated on the alumni network. Why? Because of your donors. That's your care for your students, Dr. Ludwick, but it can be a solution. There can be a solution.
May I speak?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I want you to know that our students and their experience is our top priority. And it always has been, and it will continue to be so. And so the opportunity to talk about these issues in advance has been there and will always continue to be there, right? So I'm glad that we're having this conversation today, and I look forward to many more to come, because these are important issues, and I want you to feel and know that your future careers are secure and that you're getting the kind of preparation that's going to make you great communicators.
When I signed up for the communications courses, when I signed up for the communications department to get a bachelor's in communications, I signed up with the intent of having a core curriculum to follow, a set of electives that would actually fulfill the communications requirements. Since I have joined, not only has the core of the communications department been given up on the point that I have been told to take electives and substitutions all the way through my entire degree plan, I am now struggling to find enough upper division credits to even graduate on time in the communications department. Every single semester that I have been in the communications department, I have taken substitutions. I have found any communications course that I can to fulfill any requirements, and I am still not getting enough in order to graduate on time.
I've been assured that you will be able to graduate on time. And that's something that I hope you'll continue to work with us on to make sure that you have what you need. That's an important element of this for us, because you're going to be successful professionals, and we want to prepare you in the way that makes sense.
Then why is it that most of my degree in communications is filled with anything other than communications?
I think that you are learning skills that you need for success in the future, and the communications program with, and as you had indicated earlier, many of our longtime faculty that were focused on print and broadcast journalism, they departed, right? They departed the pandemic and just before that, I think. And so as we retool the program, we are developing new talent to come in and help with that. And you know, one of the things that we wanted to do was create a master's program for communications, which is underway. So that is part of how we develop for the future.
Yeah, I'm actually a graduate student in the Master's in Digital Media and Emergent Technology program.
What's your name, please?
Giovanna Ramirez. We've actually met a couple of times before.
Okay.
I actually was an undergrad here for my bachelor's degree in communication. I shook your hand when I received the diploma, and I have it framed in my home that moment.
Well, congratulations, and we're glad you're here with us.
I'm sad that it's kind of disappointing that I was under this situation. But I know that you're a busy man, so you have a lot of things to do. However, I don't know if it's because you've put problematic people like Chris Evans, who's had a scandal before with the dean of business, and that he stayed in that position, or whatever it may be. There's been serious problems with the communication department, and I know with my graduate program, I've been hearing that it's not happening anymore. I had a meeting with George Harn and Martin Locker to discuss that, but then they canceled that meeting, and I haven't gotten a follow-up on that. So currently, I'm not really sure what my plan is. I was really excited to come back because, you know, this is a great university, and although there may have been some issues during my graduating year, I was still excited for the future that was being prepared. And now I don't know what my future looks like. I just think that, you know, there's been, and it's not just the communication department, there's been nursing students, psychology students, pre-med and engineering, drama that have come forward as well. I hope that you'll also give them the chance to speak to you kind of in this maybe more organized fashion.
And talking about bringing issues forward, universities always have questions that arise, and that's why we're here. And that's why we do the sessions with the students, and that's why we're meeting with individual departments, so that we can hear from people. So the coming forward is an important part of that dialogue that we want to develop, so that we make sure everyone's needs are met.
Okay. And do you, by any chance, have an update on the Digital Media and Emergent Technology program?
On the master's level?
Yeah.
Sure. We are in the process of securing leadership for that program.
Are they going to offer the same courses that I signed up for, or that I had originally intended?
I don't know the specifics on the degree as it unfolds. What we need are the people to be able to teach it, right? So that we can offer the courses that you need and that you expect.
Is there a chance, and I know, again, it's just because you do have a qualified professor to do that, it would be Caesar Wright. I mean, at least I think a lot of the courses would fit what he had, because since he did design the degree plan, it kind of fits with that. But hopefully someone, at least in that level, could be brought in that has a focus,
Well, we certainly want to get the best that we can for our students.
Okay, thank you.
I think someone over here.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry,
Can you tell us your name?
I'm Andrea. I prefer not to be recorded, if possible. I just wanted
Can
to
you
share.
turn off the recordings?
It's not facing towards her face at all. It's fine.
Well, she prefers not to be recorded.
Okay, well, she just said that, so I can easily cut that out.
Yeah, thank you.
Easily,
Just
yeah,
so
of
you
course.
know
Just
to edit
it can be cut
that's,
out, no problem.
That's fine. So I began communications about a year ago. So far, I've only taken one class, and it's with a professor that none of you have mentioned. So I can't really speak on what you all have been saying or how the validity of it, but I understand your concerns. I think more of my concerns is as a sophomore, I'm looking at the classes I have to take, and I'm not seeing the classes being offered. And I'm concerned with being able to graduate on time, because for me it's not only a matter of staying in college longer, it's staying in college longer also means paying more tuition, which is difficult.
Well, we certainly don't want you to stay in college longer than is necessary.
Right, I fully
necessary
understand
would be a
that.
full program that takes you to a timely completion.
Right, I fully agree with that. And so for me, I think an experience I just wanted to share, but the class I've been taking is public speaking. I'm also an honors student, and I come from a liberal arts high school, and from the course I've taken, about half of the class doesn't show up every class. That class is supposed to be 3 hours every week. We say an hour and a half max. The content that we cover are PowerPoints from the textbook, but those I could just look at home and be fine. I haven't gotten any grades back for that class. And then as an honors student, we give declamations consistently, and we cover rhetoric, and also I took 2 semesters of rhetoric in high school. So even though I haven't spent a lot of time in communications and I'm enthusiastic about pursuing communications, I felt like thus far I haven't gotten a lot from this class. And just looking to the future, I've talked to Dr. Hayes, and a class I'm taking next semester, the professor that was going to teach it isn't able to teach it anymore. And so that class is up in the air, so I would just maybe propose an idea of maybe partnering with another university to fulfill courses that we need to take, because while I agree substitutions are great, I mean, I'm majoring in multiple things. So I get substitutions, believe me, but I also want to be fully knowledgeable as a communication student in this specific area. So I know we collaborate with other universities for such as the arts program. I don't know if that's something the university is open to doing. I'm honestly very open, and I'm just here to listen. But yeah, we've been talking about professors, so I wanted to talk about the actual courses and what future looks like for us. How are the classes going to be offered, all of that.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask who your professor is? I'm just curious.
I'm Jefferson.
Never heard about this.
Oh yeah, I've had the same.
Yeah, he's very nice. Like, I have nothing bad to say, but we've also. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think I could be, but I mean, well, we've also had classes canceled multiple times, so I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you for that. I would hope that your classes would not be canceled at all.
But that's like a consistent problem. Like almost every semester that I've signed up for classes, the week before class, one of my classes get canceled, and then I never get notified about it, and unless I'm like checking my St. Tom like every single day, and then in a pinch, I have to grab a class. That's how I ended up in media ethics to begin with. I was actually supposed to take intro to media management, and then it was about 3 days before the semester started, and I was like, I need to get in this class because I have a timeline to graduate, and my parents don't want me in grad school for 3-4 years. They were like, 2 years, that's the normal amount of time, do it, and I have to grab whatever I could. And that's happened almost every single semester. And this semester, only one course in the communications department was being offered that I could take, and it was cross-listed in communications, history, art history, masters of communications, masters of art history, masters of history, and Adam Pujan was a co-professor on it, so I had to drop it immediately because I wasn't aware, and the last thing I was going to do would be spend my last semester and take my final class with somebody who very clearly hates me.
I'm in that class.
Yeah, I had to drop it.
It's not only classes, it's opportunities for comm students. Fox 26 internship has been canceled. Unmuted podcast has been canceled. KPRC internship has been canceled. KHOU Great Day Houston relationship has been terminated. Microsoft Fast VIP Epic partnership canceled. Courses related to the metaverse,
So,
AI.
Do you know why those were canceled?
Under the supervision of Chris Evans. That's why we are calling for the removal of Chris Evans.
Do you know why those? Because they're long-standing. Do you know why they're canceled now?
Could you tell me that?
I don't know. I'm just asking you because you seem to have the answers to that.
How
So this-
long-standing has it been?
It's been ongoing for a few years, I think.
No, sir. Not those, not the ones that were listed, not the KHU. The Fox is the first time it's happened, not the individual. There are not long-standing
So
relationships.
there are internships with media that has been ongoing.
No, sir, only because of Dr. Caesar Wright, and that's a whole nother thing. A lot of other universities send out emails. I've only gotten one email from the communications department my entire time here, and it's because of a community engagement project group, so it was really sent out by a student. I haven't gotten one email from the communications department until this meeting, and I think that's very unfortunate because all those are not long-standing relationships, and they're going to be terminated for students, for future students who would love to learn. Even just something like a podcast would be fantastic for people to practice in front of the camera, behind the camera. Those opportunities are no longer.
Well, I think those opportunities will be there because what we want to do is build those relationships with the media in Houston and beyond. You know, when we look at the future of the undergraduate and graduate programs here, that's what's really exciting because as you've seen with the growth of Mac Studios at the university, with the growth with other media apostolates around the country and around the world, I think we'll have a really great opportunity for students to get that hands-on experience and blend it with a theoretical basis that make you really strong communications professionals.
Why do you think Mac Studios has grown so successfully, as you say?
Why? Because of the talent that we have there.
What about resources?
What about resources?
Resources that they receive
I
that
think
we
they
may not
use
have?
they actually have developed their own resources.
So that's part of the issue also.
The cameras that you're seeing right here, the computers, these are all ours. The lighting inside Robertson is ours. All of the equipment that we've been given is either malfunctional or inexistent. And that's not even, discussing the fact that there's definitely mold in our classrooms, and we're stuck in basements to take these courses. Dr. Ludwick, we bring this to your attention because we need your help. We're not attacking you, and I don't want it to come off that way.
So, but this is the
really
first,
need your
did this happen today?
What?
What you're alleging?
Alleging the equipment that we're using.
The litany
we're
that
using
you
it-
just shared with us.
So
if it didn't happen just today, then why didn't you come to me before?
We've been coming to you for 8 months. This has been brought
I'm
to you
sorry
multiple
that
times.
is not accurate. You have not been coming to me for 8 months. If you had, I would have responded immediately, and you know that.
I remember when there was a hole in the ceiling of the girls' bathroom.
Yeah.
The doors
How long
won't
did it?
close,
How long did it
and
take?
you have to break one of those.
So
pieces.
what I'm interested in is how we meet your needs and make sure that you get what you need. That's important to us. It's really the paramount importance. Yes.
I think something that is vital to that is, as you said before, is putting people in places of power that are going to do the best for their students. I think that's something that's very important to us.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, we want the talent in the classrooms and outside the classrooms for you to be able to thrive.
Maybe reassessing who you're hiring, and like like I mentioned with Chris Evans, maybe reevaluating his behavior, what he's done. This isn't the first time that UST's been put in the media spotlight, and that's because of certain mismanagement. And I know about second chances, I believe about second chances, but he's been given a second chance, and I don't know. I don't think he did a great job at it.
Well, I appreciate your feedback, and it's something that we continue to look at across the university is how are folks performing, and are they meeting the needs of the university and particularly our students within it.
But students need advocates in the faculty, and Dr. Wright is our only advocate, and every time he's tried to advocate for us, he's been shut down and he's been told, you don't need to be concerned about that. You need to be a team player. You need to be, on our side. And he's just is repeatedly just told, the students don't matter.
No, I would hope no one would ever say students don't matter. They matter so much. They are like the reason that we're here.
Exactly. So it's concerning that like
So
there's one advocate for us and they're trying to fire him.
There is only hope and there is only plans to make this program successful along with the careers that you all have. That's our ultimate goal. That's what we want, and that's what we're working for.
I have a question. So you mentioned performance metrics and your staff and your teachers. Personally, I know a lot of students here who have had ad impusion, and they have seen a significant amount of people drop out of his courses for at least a couple years at this point. And I'm just hearing it. I had taken one class with Pujan, and I had no issue with him. The way he structured his class was strange to me, in the sense that he mostly did PowerPoint presentations. That's not really how I learn, but that's a different issue. I think that there's a bigger issue here that I'm hearing from my peers about ad impusion and his behavior towards students that is making them drop his class. That's concerning to me because I have never had a bad relationship with him, but if I hear multiple peers mentioning that and coming forward, why hasn't there been an action or any type of forum that you guys have been using
so that we can try and improve the skill sets for those faculty members?
And you guys are great at doing the student evaluations. I see it. I do them every year. You guys consistently kind of put them out and have them on Blackboard, it's great. I'm just not confident that they're being looked at or anyone is working and kind of analyzing that because of the things that I've heard from my peers, and it's discouraging.
Well, and I want you to not be discouraged. I want us to perform in a way that meets and exceeds your expectations. So that's why these kinds of conversations are really good.
Okay.
Can I speak? Can I come
Sure.
in there?
If we're going to sit here and talk about how this person should be out of here, we should also sit here and talk about how this person should stay in here. The amount of energy we put into hating on Dr. Pujan and calling for these things should also be reciprocated in positive energy towards Professor Wright. The amount of negative things we've said about Dr. Pujan, we could say tenfold positive things about Professor Wright.
And the same from our opinion about the opposite way. But I'm not up here to slander Dr. Wright. I don't know him very well.
Yeah.
I have had personal meetings with him. He was my advisor. I know him too.
Mhm.
And I have plenty of negative and positive things to say about him. But the fact is I'm not up here slandering a professor, saying false things about him, asking for him to be fired. I think that's an immature way to deal with a real problem that we all feel in the community. I understand you as an individual.
Yeah. So what are you
I'm saying?
saying?
The movement and the message that you guys as a group are putting forward, that's what I'm talking about. It's dominating.
I still have things to say. I think that the rhetoric that we've had, and for the majority of this conversation about negative things about Dr. Pujan, I think that that's what we should be doing and addressing those things, as the president said, it's important, and there's justices that need to come and process that need to happen. But I want to make sure that since we're all comm students here and all comm majors here, we'll have one thing in common. We all want to graduate, correct? We all want to graduate from this university?
Yes.
And everyone here has concerns for the communications department, correct?
Yes.
I would like to focus on those concerns from this point on in the meeting, because I think those are the most actionable things and the most agreeable things that we can come together in a room and have a conversation with the president here. I think we've all talked about how we're worried about graduating on time, worried about not having classes. Something that I think that was glossed over a little too much was that, President, you keep talking about how there's going to be classes that the digital media production that we were talking about, how those are going to be there. I am going to be completely honest with you, conversation-wise. I don't feel confident in the words that you've said to me about getting classes in and getting professors in, because I've been here since a freshman, 3 years, and I've been engaged in the communications program, and I've only seen it go down. I've only seen it go downhill.
I have one more thing to do, and then I do have to go because my son is outside, so I appreciate you speaking. I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
Okay.
I agree. I think we can go forward and talking about the communications program as a program and not about the faculty that are involved in it. I know that's necessary. Obviously, you're going to have faculty for programs. But I think it's hard for us to trust that we all actually care about that issue when it feels muddied by all these accusations against individual people, who are people. They're not just professors. Also, I'm seeing this that was left on the podium. This is the little bullet point under Pujan is only full-time comm faculty, and I think this goes to show y'all's just lack of knowledge about how actually positive Dr. Pugin's classes are and what they offer us as students, as comm students. The last bullet point is irrelevant courses not credentialed to teach applied comm courses. I think I'm going to end on this. If you think that Dr. Pugin's courses are irrelevant, then maybe you should switch majors, because there's nothing more relevant than Dr. Pugin's courses if you want a full, integrated, holistic, liberal arts education on communication. That's all I have to say.
I think, yeah, what Alex had mentioned is important. Maybe just, oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Pam. I'm sorry. No, you go. Okay. It was just maybe more communication of like updates on finding staff or faculty, and just what classes will be offered, like what's in development. So we're not so worried about waiting for news, maybe just updates.
Right. So the search for a director of the program is one that has taken a long time, right? We've been searching for a couple of years now.
I'm so sorry, excuse me.
You left with a bang. Right? So it's difficult because as the program is changing and becoming in some ways a more integrative program with the underpinnings of rhetoric and those kinds of things, but the particular importance of the application in a digital world, right? So a lot of times when you look at people coming in, we want to find someone who has the ability to kind of walk in both worlds with perhaps a more focused understanding of how to integrate technology into those storytellings. For instance, AI. We want our students to be able to interface with that in development of content, the production quality, those kinds of things. So that's really important to us as we look for who comes next. And we've had a couple of different searches that have produced candidates that came to the top of the list, but we haven't hired them because we want to get somebody that we think is really great for this program. And that's been the issue, is finding the people to do that. And we have another group that's coming in soon, so we'll have a chance to look at them and see how they put it together so that the future of the program really is for the future of communications, not sort of anchored in what the past of communications was. That's really important for us. So what I hear you saying is that we want the production classes, we want those kinds of things, and I also hear that we want it to be a very robust program that is grounded in the kinds of liberal arts skill sets that are timeless, because we know that with the application of technology, we see that how it changes so much, right? So learning how to learn in that environment is sometimes more important than the actual doing of it. Now, you have to be able to do that when you get off the job, and I get that, right? But that's what we're trying to do, is give you a toolkit full of skills that are timeless, that you can then hit the ground running once you leave the program. So that's sort of the overall vision of where we're going, and finding the right people to do that for us. And I mean the right people, those who have skills, experience, and can interact with you all in a way that you want them to interact with you, right? So that they take into account where you as students are coming from, so that you can learn better.
Really fast. Oh yeah, Pam.
Pam's been trying to raise her hand for like years.
Yeah.
So I have a sister coming. They're considering a seat in the communications program. But the only reason she's considering it is because I told her about like the push classes I take, the video classes I take. Like I like all of it. I think it's pretty important to like have a balance too. Because I want to be a teacher, or a professor in the communications program, or want to write. I don't know, like those student classes we want to be on TV. These are student classes. So it's a good balance. But I'm just scared that I'm like lying to her, saying, yeah, like look at all the school projects I get to do, and all the school lessons I get to like incorporate into my life. And just saying that they're not going to be there like next year or like the year after. I don't want to, like as an older sister, it feels just kind of like, it's my fault. Like, I lied to you that it's a great school, it is, but so, I don't know. And so I guess my question is like, are there actually going to be classes like theory and production classes, or just theory or just production? Like I said, balance is good, so I don't,
And I agree with you. I think balance is good. And that's one of the things that the program that was here for a long time, as I said, was print and sort of journalism broadcast based. And that's where I've actually been a primary proponent of how we change the program to be more forward-facing within the digital world, right? I think that's obviously, there's another bag. That's a really important element of how I think we must go forward. If you look at the overall narrative for the university, we incorporate that. We use the innovation language within that. We say that we bring a great intellectual past with us, but we go forward into the future with innovation. And you've seen that in some of the new programs that have come along, and that's why I mentioned Mac Studios earlier, and the resources, right? It's not that we as a university have put a bunch of resources into it, but they just recently got almost $1 million gift, right? And I didn't go out looking for that. It came to them because of the work that they're doing. And that's where I think the integration with that kind of application, along with some of the other things like the MA degree in evangelization and culture, is with one of the largest Catholic media apostolates in the country, in the world actually. That would be a really cool integration for us to continue to develop. So as we look at an interdisciplinary approach to moving forward, we want a solid communications program that takes us into the future, integrating technology, including artificial intelligence, and the sort of rhetorical underpinnings of that. So that's where I agree with you. We have to have a balance so that production classes are available, so that you also have the theory to back it up. And that's where, and I just had a conversation again this morning with our academic leadership about how we have to meet that promise. That's something that's really important to us.
So the new, like the future comm will no longer be like journalism based, still be more AI or?
Well, there will always be, I think, journalism elements to it, right? I mean, I heard somebody talk about Jeff earlier, Jeff Olson, right? He did the screenwriting thing. So all of those are elements of communication that are, I think, important. So it's not like pigeonhole one thing or the other, but it sort of gives you a broad understanding, particularly at the undergraduate level, not just understanding, but the ability to do. And that's something that I think is really important for us. And I don't think was here in as pronounced a way, maybe in the past. And so that's why we're developing, as we retool the faculty within the department. Yes.
This might be a little off topic, but it just kind of came to my mind. Do you have an understanding of why those professors that we listed previously were removed or not re-signed or anything? Because I don't really know. I just wanted to see if you know.
So, I mean, you'd have to talk to each one of them individually to know. I know that Jeff, for instance, because he worked really closely with me, he loved teaching in that program. He took a job at another college, right? So he can't do it very well from Corpus Christi, although maybe we can get him to teach online or something. I had lunch with him last week, right? So each one, like Olivia and some of the others, I think they retired. She went to Rome, I think, or at least Italy. So those, I think you have to talk to them individually about that. I don't know that there was any sort of conspiratorial plan, at least none that was shared with me about we're wholesale changing. I think that's just kind of what happened. I mean, some of you may not have known Robin, but she, I think, was the first one kind of to retire. And so they've been great. They were, if you talk to the alumni from the program, they are legendary, and we love and honor them, right? And the alumni are really active, and I think they represent us really well with the skill sets that they have. And they too understand, and I've talked to some of them about the need for us to move the program into the future, and I welcome them. And we've had conversations about creating an alumni advisory group, and I think that would be awesome because they're out there doing the work, and we want to make sure that we have the benefit of their past understanding, but also present understanding of where they see the industry's going. I think that's really important.
President Ludwick, I have a question. We've spoken a lot about development, but a lot of us are experiencing this in real time. Can you give us some facts about what's going to be happening to this department in real time?
Well, I don't know what you mean by real time. You mean now
We're
and in the
experiencing
fall?
now. Yes, sir. I have 2 classes tomorrow, 2 classes Thursday. We're all experiencing our education right now. We don't have time to wait for that development in the next few years. I think that it's one thing to keep taking students and denying the responsibility of providing professors and having the privilege to wait years that they don't have to wait for those just right professors.
Right, and so that's why I talked to you about how Lee Holm, in fact, did an audit of our students within communication to find out how they are progressing toward their degree plans. And with the question about that sort of balance between production classes and theoretical classes, those are important. So with the searches that we have underway for faculty members and with the development of programs for the fall, that's what we anticipate will happen.
Do you have any, just really quickly, just to reiterate my question because I don't feel that you might have misunderstood me. Once again, are there any real facts of changes that are coming to the communications department that we can apply either this semester or next semester that would help us not only graduate and not only just take substitution courses, but in real time be able to meet the needs necessary to expand and actually develop the communications department in real time rather than in a few years? What changes are coming to the university?
Well, I'll give you the same answer I did. We're hiring faculty and we're putting classes in place for the fall. Is that responsive to your question in real time?
Yes. When will the faculty be hired for the classes?
Over here.
When will the faculty be hired?
Thank you. As soon as we can find them. I mentioned to you, we've already had an ongoing search, right? And we have somebody else coming in next week. So that is what we're working on.
I know she had mentioned, I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up.
If partnering with like HCC or UH or something.
I
just
mean,
as an option.
Also, I guess my idea is we are in a digital world, and I know we do partnerships with study abroad universities, but also communications, I think, has I mean, I'm a digital media concentration, and so I think there is the space which will allow for it to work through online mediums. So I don't know if that is a possibility that has been looked into, but
It is a definite possibility, and in fact, I just got back from a trip 2 days, and we were looking at another institution that has an extraordinarily well-developed sound technology program. And we were talking about how we collaborate, how our students can go there and learn some of those skill sets, how their students can come here and learn some of the strengths that we have, say, either in rhetoric or philosophy or theology, those kinds of things. So it is something that we continue to work on, and as I said, I just got back from a trip where I was touring these amazing sound studios. It was incredible. They do audio for feature-length films. They do music. It was a quite impressive thing. So those are the kinds of connections that we hope and we're building for. I know you want to know, is it going to happen tomorrow? Yeah, it could, but that's what we're working on. So it's not like we're waiting and doing nothing. We're actually very proactive in this thing. But I haven't talked about that publicly because it's not ready for us to discuss yet, because we're still at the idea stage. They were really excited about it. We were really excited about it. And it was incredible. So yes, that is a possibility. But we also need and want to have our own faculty so that you can have those relationships that work for you, that you feel like you have an advisor who will take an active and intimate role in how you develop, and with the internships, with placement, for jobs, those kinds of things.
President Ludwick, the classes that we're taking and what we will be taking next semester, the lights we use and the cameras we use are Dr. Caesar Wright's, and since his contract is not going to be renewed, is there going to be a fund for resources for the communications department?
There's always fund for resources for education.
Where is that money being distributed?
You just cut me off again.
My apologies, please.
Well, I don't know. I think it would be good if we developed some mutual respect.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So yeah, I would think so. What we definitely want to do is equip all of our academic units with the kinds of resources that they need for students.
Is there a plan in place or a fund that we can ask for once Dr. Caesar Wright removes all his lightings and cameras?
I don't know about Dr. Caesar Wright's lightings and cameras. Can you expound on that?
Absolutely. The lighting and the tools that we're able to use that's either not malfunctional or up to industry standard were provided for by his money, not the university's. So since he's leaving and we won't have any equipment to be able to functionally use, will there be a fund that we can inquire about, or someone that can provide equipment to the communication students that are pouring thousands of dollars into the program?
Absolutely. We want you to have the best equipment that we can provide.
Who can we reach out to about that? Other than, now,
Well, initially the interim department head is Dr. Lockhart. So I think he would be a good start.
Thank you.
Sure.
May I add to that? I come as an engineering student. I think our program is kind of just now starting also. And I think that it's very easy to pinpoint like a lot of the weaknesses, especially because the program is really small. As of right now, no companies really know about the University of St. Thomas or like engineering students or what our potentials are, or how well we execute, in the work field. But something that I have kind of just encouraged my team and also just all the other students in the department, and also like we're homies because y'all are downstairs. But so something that we have talked a lot about is sometimes like we have to do what it takes, like what we can do, like put in our, I guess like meet people halfway. So we have started, you might see all these clubs on campus and be like, what the heck? They have Society of Physics Engineers, Society of Women Engineers, American Institute of Mechanical Engineers, and American Institute of Chemical Engineers. Like we have a ton of clubs going on, but what's really cool is the university, like all of us pay the activity fee money, right? So it's like $130, I think. And so that goes into the like Treasury Board fund basically, and Treasury Board distributes that money. Something that I could recommend you guys also do as comm students, if you want like more like really cool supplies, is you can do research or apply for the undergrad research scholarships, which is something we've also done. Just because we can't just sit there and like wait for people to pour money to us, like we have to try to find those opportunities. And so on top of that, we've also like through the clubs, the university funds $200, or they give $200 to each club, like right off the bat. So then you can have $200 to work with, and like then you can get new gear. And then the next year you get $100. And then you can continue to do fundraising within the university, but also you can go up to Treasury Board and petition for money. So that's just like something I wanted to offer, because I understand like sometimes we don't know all of our resources, and maybe someone hadn't told you, so I just wanted to share with you.
I guess we were just thinking, because like I know we had production with John Butler, and we have to use like KBC that was from the school since like I think the 80s now. And so I guess I just thought those materials would be better quality materials would be provided for classes, not clubs or like a separate project.
I understand. Like, and us, so we don't have the funds to like go out and buy like a half a size 3D or half a class size 3D printer. But so we asked like CSHIP, nursing students, and I know they had like a 3D print lab, so we like took what we could. And sometimes like it was a little janky or something, but we're engineering students, so we like figured it out, tried to piece it together. But I understand like that's not the ideal thing sometimes, and I'm glad that you guys have something to start off with. But I guess my proposal to you guys is just like maybe, I know it's not ideal to start a club maybe, but it could be a way of...
Yeah, I guess I just was hoping like the basic tools at least to be provided from the school without having to do like an additional, because I have to drive here, so I drive like 40 minutes, and so it's like hard, I guess, being an off-campus student as well, and like not having the time necessarily to be really active in a club, especially since I was already doing other things on top of that, like internships and whatnot. I just like, yeah, just having basic resources.
Yeah, and I think like basic resources comes down to literature or understanding and things like that. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of.
Or at least for like a production class, I guess a basic resource would be a camera, a well-functioning, at least
well,
somewhat.
and those.
That's like thousands of dollars, so that's why we can't afford to
And those kinds of cameras, we should be able, and they should be in there. And that's the changing nature of the program, right? Those weren't the kinds of classes that there were before. And as we move forward, what we have to do is get that equipment so that you all have it to work with.
Yeah, okay. So that's like for the future.
Yeah, well, not just for the future, but we need it for the fall too.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that a hand?
Yes. Hello, my name is Yasmin Larissa. I'm actually not a communication major. I'm actually pursuing a career in psychology, minoring in Spanish, but I just wanted to let y'all know I saw this video and I thought it was very inspirational, and I'm very proud of everyone for finally being able to open up and talk about their experiences, so I just wanted to kind of congratulate you for that. But I completely agree with the stance of trying to gather funds from the Treasury Board, but I was also going to ask you, Dr. Ludwick, would it also be a possibility to have some of the funding from Mac Studios to be put into the communications department? Because as we stated, we know that these equipments, they're not easily 100, $50, $100, they're like...
Right, they're not outlandishly expensive until you get to the really high end of things. And, that's why I mentioned earlier when you talked about Mac Studios, the talent, because they do a lot with not a lot of technology, frankly. And so that's kudos to them, and they've done really well with that. And so that's why I also mentioned the funding that has come in, because people see the value of that, and that's what they wanted to fund. So that's what they did. So actually, with the amount of gift that has come in, Mac Studios, at least to date, hasn't cost the university anything. So that's been a tremendous gift to us, because there are a lot of connections that we make through Mac Studios, just like the one that I mentioned about the sound technology program. That was in large part driven by the doors that were opened with Mac Studios. So I think you can use communication for a great deal of good, and that's where I think that's a good example of that.
What would you like the communication program or department, in a perfect world, what would you want it to look like here at the University of St. Thomas?
I sort of laid that out, right, just a little bit ago. I want it to be a place where it's underpinned with the rhetorical foundations, right, so that our undergraduates in particular have that strength of a liberal arts grounding, but also it's a very sort of applied degree at the undergraduate level, so that you integrate other disciplines with it. So it's computer science with artificial intelligence, it's technology with, say, sound and video editing, those kinds of things. But also the processes. How do you produce? Where do you have the chance to tell those stories? And understanding the human person and how you harm people or how you help people by what you do. I think that's really important. Or morality about how you approach media is something that I think is really important. At the graduate level, I think that it becomes even more integrated with other programs, so that there's a connectivity that when you leave that program, you already have a network of professionals that are really sort of global, and recognize that this is one of those places that has become well known for that. So that's the hope, at least that's the vision that I hold for communication, and that's why I don't think we have done a great job of explaining that vision, because we are at a pivot point, right? And that pivot point, to your question about real time, right? We want to make sure that the students who are here now have a good experience and are ready, and sets the stage, the platform for what comes next. And that next thing is something that's going to be really important. So you are, if you will, the tip of the spear in that transition, and we've been going through this for a while. That's why the talent quotient for the faculty is something that's going to be really important for us as we move forward.
President Ludwick, is it true that the communications hours have gone down to 33 in order to graduate?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think it was still 36, because the core was 30 and there were 6.
Well, it was due to the insufficient amount of hours. Do you know if that's if we can validate that from your work?
If we can validate it from where?
From your work? Is it
From my word. Whatever the program says, right? We have how many programs in this institution, so I don't know the exact detail for each one. So I'm sure that that's available for you, and if you want, we'll get that to you as a follow-up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we do have on footage that you were saying that you would meet with parents individually.
I did say that.
All right, thank you. Just want to make sure that we were still
I just wanted to ask, what course of action as students can we take to ensure that we get the classes that we need? Like I said, like there was a class that I was hoping to take next semester, and then it got removed because the professor wasn't able to teach it, but then they added it again, but then it's still up in the air. So I think just as students, what's the best thing we can do if that situation were to arise? I know someone mentioned that a class was removed like 3 days before they were supposed to take it, and then they were left scrambling to find another. So what would you suggest the best course of action be in that situation?
So I think the best course is to work with your advisor to say this is the class I want, and then to make sure that you register early. Usually one of the things that happens with classes that might get canceled at the last minute is because it's undersubscribed, right? We can't run classes of just a couple of people. And so if that's the number, then that's usually why a class is changed. And then we will make substitutions for that. But the goal is to run those classes so that you get the classes that you want and you need, but we also have to have the students that support them as well. So work with your advisor, make sure that they know what you want, because what we do is we create these course schedules months in advance, and the faculty to teach them are here or not here, so we have to get them if they're not here. And then students, you all can register, but then you can also change your mind and drop that class and go another. So those are the kinds of things that affect the ability to offer the classes. And we want to have a robust, and that's why I'd love for enrollment to increase in the department, because then that makes sure that the courses are subscribed to the point where we can continue to offer them in that way.
Oh, I have a question. So, for example, I wanted to take writing for the media. I'm a writer, but I'm also a communications major, so that's something I'm really interested in, and that's just never been offered. Like every single time I've looked, or every semester since I've been here, that I was eligible, it has never been offered. So if I told my advisor I really want to take this, would that be taken genuinely into consideration? And would that class be attempted to be offered?
So I think, yes, it would be taken genuinely. The other thing that is, I think, good about an institution of our size and scale is, and this happened at my undergraduate institution as well, if you have a class that you want in particular, but it's not offered as a regular course, then the content of that class can also be offered to you individually. So that you have a tutor, you have a professor who works with you in that class, and you get those skill sets out of the class without running a course per se. So you get the chance to get those without that.
That does make a lot of sense, and I actually am doing that right now with my senior thesis. I'm creating a documentary with Dr. Caesar Wright, and I guess my worry in that, like I understand like offering like private study, but I just don't think there's anyone in the department right now who's qualified. John Butler, he's a producer on Fox 26. He knows a lot about editing and obviously producing. And then there's Adam, who knows a lot about the liberal side of it. But I don't see anything relevant to me. And again, so I personally, although I have been insulted by Adam before as well, I did file a complaint because it wasn't something I wanted to do. I don't have a problem with him. I did drop out of this class just because I just didn't want to take it, and I preferred to do something else. But I do totally understand the intersection of liberal learning and applied learning, and that's something I'm learning in one of my classes right now, which I didn't necessarily want to take. It's a capstone class. It's John Henry Newman with David Diebel, who's a great professor. and we were talking about this last week, is that there can be a good intersection. And I understand that, and I value that, and I've enjoyed a lot of my philosophy and theology classes, even though they might not have been the thing I wanted to take the most in the world. But I guess I'm just worried that I'm supposed to graduate next semester, and I just worry that I'm not going to graduate with what I feel like I was promised and what I came in here doing, because my first week here, I was so excited. And I told my best friend, I said, I'm gonna love it here, this is gonna be amazing. And I haven't had that experience in almost any facet, but especially in my department. And I just don't see that happening. And I don't see concrete steps being taken to offer core classes. So like writing for the media, it should be offered at least every year because it's part of the core. It's not even part of one of the concentrations. So I understand that things are going through a transition, but I think students who signed up understanding what they were going to be offered, because I could have gone other places, Becca could have gone other places, Gio could have gone other places, and we feel betrayed, and we feel like we didn't come into this wanting to do this. And I really hope you understand that. This wasn't something we wanted to do. I'm missing my class right now. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to spend my time doing that. I have a lot going on, but we feel like this has been something we've been forced to do because we're just not getting what we were promised. And even separate from the professors, even separate from that, I just want the experience and I just want the network that I feel like I should have been offered. And I think there's a place to have a separate program that focuses more on the conceptual and liberal learning parts, and we can add that into the core. But I just don't understand why the classes I was offered, the classes I am required to take, are never offered. I just don't understand.
Well, I think you mentioned in particular writing for the media, right? So we will make sure that we find out about that. And as I suggested, sometimes, a lot of times people are very interested in having that personal experience, especially when you've come toward the end of your program. Right? You have a chance to really put that together. What the core courses that you want are the core courses that I think you should have. So that's, as we put this together and the schedule for the fall, we hope that we'll be able to do that.
I have a question. I have a couple friends who have attended USC, and I've been able to visit, and I really appreciated their cinematography program. They have a dedicated program that would email the students in the comm department. I think it's called Annenberg, and they're able to get updates in time about what's happening with their program, what opportunities are offered, what they can do as students, and where they can put themselves into a space where they can apply their learning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, as long as I've been a comm student, I've gotten an email like that, and I'm wondering if you have any developments about if there's going to be something like that going forward.
Well, I certainly hope so, right? That's and you've seen with, so for instance, the Rising Stars program, and with other programs, we're building bridges with industry, right? And there, I think we have Rising Stars even in the comms program too, so that they have those kinds of internships. But what you're talking about is a way of creating, I think, a neighborhood, a network, right, of communication within electronic means. So those are things that I think are really good. And I think some of the programs have sort of created that neighborhood themselves. In this one, we haven't had a full-time leader to be able to do that, who is from communication. So that's why this hire is such an important one for us. And sometimes there are areas that it becomes harder to hire that talent because we're forward-facing for some of our programs that are changing, and so it takes a while for that talent to come on board. That's really the goal. It would have been much easier for us to say, oh, we'll just take whomever, right? And say, good luck. But that's not what we want for you. We want you to have a great experience. And I apologize if we have missed the mark relative to any of those things. it's something that we would never want you to experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of us just felt really forgotten and kind of like abandoned, left into a dark basement to create our own stuff.
Well, you were not abandoned, and certainly not in a basement, so.
Usually,
yes.
yeah.
Usually, I'm sorry, usually you are in the basement, but not today.
Not today.
Right? Sorry. Yeah.
I want to second what she said in that regard. I came to USC 2020, and when I was looking at various colleges to attend, I chose here because the comms department seemed very diverse, very broad, gave you a taste of just about everything. It seemed like a good way to prepare myself for life.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm already set to graduate, I have been lucky enough to be able to do what's needed of me. I have, over the course of time, seen it just deteriorate and deteriorate, stripped down. It was very heartbreaking to see emotion in the background. And so in a sense, I do agree with you that, yes, we do feel very much abandoned.
Well, I want you to feel like you're included now and not abandoned. And that's why we're having this conversation and why we're building, for those of you who are here through next fall or way beyond that, a program that I think you're going to really enjoy and be proud of.
President Ludwick, you say that you're looking for good instructors, and you're having a hard time finding the right one that would bring good experience to students, but you do have one right in front of you and you're not renewing his contract. Can we get any info on if you would consider renewing Cesar Wright's contract?
I want you to make sure that my quotes are correct, right? So I was talking about a chair of the program, and that's where, by our accreditation, requires certain credentials, right? And so that's what we'll be looking for.
And as for the faculty that will be teaching the classes, since we have a lot of classes, and you said that you were looking for faculty as well, would you consider renewing Cesar Wright's contract?
I think I already said I'm not really going to talk about personnel issues here today. Thanks for the question.
No, I think we're just all really confused why his contract isn't being renewed, because I've been told very directly by Martin Lockard that they are not bringing him back. So, I mean, that's why it's not a secret, because he openly tells people that. So, yeah, we're just confused because, of course, you know, there are only two, at this exact moment, only two full professors in the department, Cesar Wright and Adam Pujan, and John Wiggler, but he's like adjunct, isn't he? So there are only two associate professors, and if you eliminate one of them, you basically have 1.5 professors in the whole department, with no concrete person on hand to bring in.
Yeah, I know that he'll be teaching 4 classes, and that's a lot. One person's shoulders, and so.
And that's not fair to Adam.
Yeah, besides everything else.
He's also a new professor, so like asking him to kind of do that many things is kind of, I feel like putting a lot of pressure that could in the future create more complaints, just because I'm sure, you know, I mean, he has a kid, he's, you know, has probably other stuff going on, he's going to be stressed out, and I just don't think that will improve going forward, his evaluations and his ability to, you know, juggle everything.
Mm-hmm.
So just because he probably does have a lot of complaints about his teaching style, just because he hasn't found it. Like, teaching is completely different than knowing your stuff. Like, obviously he has a PhD. He does know what he's talking about to a degree, for sure. But like teaching, that's a whole different thing. That's why there's a lack of teachers, just even in the education system. People don't, it's hard for them, it's hard. And I just think that's a lot of pressure on a professor who's only been teaching like, I think a couple of years now. And he just, besides all of his complaints, as a person does deserve support in his role. and he shouldn't feel the pressure to, you know, do production and do all this stuff when he doesn't really know about that. And people can have their niches. I think that's amazing. But I think, especially because of what we were told coming in, you know, we need to have people who can do writing, and we need to have people who can do production. And I mean, he just can't, because he doesn't have that knowledge. And like, again, that's okay. There are people who obviously like his classes, but that doesn't necessarily like mean he should be the person teaching almost all of the classes, if that makes sense. So I guess we don't really understand where our faculty is, and I understand it takes a while, but I also don't really understand. I've had amazing professors here. I've had Erica McDonald, who has taught me a lot about my Patty Shea is also amazing. I literally had her review a cover letter just the other week for me, and she sent me this huge email, longer than I ever could have expected someone who is no longer my professor to send me, with feedback. And there's other professors like Dwayne Bradley, who has provided so much information to me just through different people he knows. I've gotten to talk to people from Children at Risk and Bread of Life, just all of these really amazing people who I'm utilizing in different ways, but they're not here anymore. And let's put Dr. Wright aside, which I hate to do because he's done a lot for me. What about the other professors? Why are you sitting and saying that you're trying to find accredited professors when they were here? These people know what they're talking about. They have proof. They have degrees. They know how to teach, and their evaluations were good. We loved their classes. Mm-hmm. Why are they gone, and why have you treated them as if they're disposable? Because they're not.
Well, I'm not sure that they were treated as they were disposable.
Well, I've
Maybe
actually
you
been
have
reached out
information I
personally
don't know.
by several of them, and they feel that way.
Well, I don't know. That's information that I don't have. I wouldn't want anyone to feel that way.
And I understand that. I feel like maybe there's just, obviously it's a lot of pressure on you to know everything, right? And we're asking you questions and you're like, I don't know. And that's understandable.
Because
you know, you have like,
in large part, I don't know the individuals that you're talking about, so I don't know their
yeah,
stories.
and I totally understand that. And there's like a million departments here. You can't know every single person. You can't know every single student. But I'm just worried about who these things are delegated to. And I'm worried about the decisions that are being made, like regarding these professors, because they provided a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And I was really wanting to take PR2 with Patty Lachey.
Absolutely.
And all of us, I'm pretty sure every single person here in this who has come before you could say that she's provided so much insight, and she's very, very, very successful in what she does. Mm-hmm. And she has the proof behind her to back that out. So if anything, I would like for the ability to take that class. I would like the ability for future students to take Erica McDonald's
class. So I don't know the answers to those, but what we'll do is find out. What about the cadre of and I'm guessing these are adjunct professors, right?
Yes. I mean, I asked Dr. Lockard about Patty Shea specifically in one of our meetings, and he was like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess I could have reached out to her.
We're just letting these people go, and
yeah.
maybe there just needs to be more people involved in the upper who are doing these things. So there's just specific people who just know certain things, and like, you know, I can't even expect Chris Evans to know every single thing about every faculty member, even though I don't personally think he's doing a very good job at all in a lot of departments. Maybe that's too much pressure for him. Maybe he can't be expected to do that. Maybe we can't be expecting you to do all of this. But delegation is really, really important, and so maybe there needs to be more people who do the research on the professors, make sure they're doing their jobs right, and then have, talk about the evaluations and like, why are these professors being let go when people have really enjoyed their classes? And I understand like the under enrollment issue, but you're going to have that issue a lot more in the future if we're sitting here saying don't go to USD. And that's just
right. And I hope, frankly, you won't do that, because your experience will be one that you want to share.
And I really do hope that, but I have one semester left, and I can't afford to spend any more time here than I already have. It's already been a huge burden on my single mom who's a teacher, and God, I'm gonna cry.
Well, so Anna's taking notes for me. So one of those follow-up items is to find out about the adjunct professors that we've had here and what the courses are that we need and whether they're available.
I mean, like, it only makes sense if you teach PR1 in the fall to allow those students, because that class was quite full. I mean, there were at least 10 of us in there.
A lot of us were in that class.
A lot of us were in that class. It was
people,
amazing
yeah.
to give us the opportunity to take the second half of the course in the spring. I mean, typically that's how that works. You take part 1 in fall, part 2 in the spring, and then, yeah, Martin Locker just was like, oh, yeah, I guess I could have communicated better. I could have reached out to her. She didn't reach out to me, though, but also it's his job to organize with the professors the courses for the semester, and he just...
He's also wearing 2 hats. He's
didn't do that.
Double the job and double the workload, which can be difficult.
I just want to know, is this a one-time event, or how will we further this discussion?
I think that depends on the students in large part, right? I mean, I have these opportunities to visit with students all the time. And sometimes students show up and take advantage of it, and sometimes they don't. And so, you know, the real question is, what is the purpose, right? What do you hope to get out of this? If it's really working on the issues of the department, then that's something that we're really excited about, because I think that makes a lot of sense.
And I know that we've had this special opportunity for the communication department, but that just maybe addressing the whole student body, saying if they have any issues to come
Well,
forward.
we just did that a week and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, I mean, that's the thing. The presidential forum... I'm sorry?
I think we should do more of them, though, because the presidential forum, right? Like, that's time maybe not all students can attend. Some of us work, some of us have classes in between. There needs to be multiple.
And that is an opportunity. That's why we have multiple avenues for that kind of communication. So Lucy, Paola is taking over as the student body president. They call the forums. I'm always happy to come and do that. So I'm kind of at your beck and call when it comes to those kinds of things. And so you'll know that this one was, I reached out to you. I would have really been happy to hear from you on that sort of thing.
Yeah. And when I did email you beforehand to ask about like the structure and just ask questions. I never got back. Is it common to like email you directly, or is there someone else email to get to you?
Usually we have a team within the president's office that's able to triage those emails. You can imagine there are a lot of emails that we get. And so we try to get back to all of them. Sometimes if they're untimely responses, then I apologize for that. It wasn't because I would ignore you intentionally. It was because there were just a lot of emails, right? So, you know, the other thing is, as I think about this, I'm not sure that what I would have said relative to format and how this meeting went would actually been honored, right? So there's that piece that goes along with it too.
It would have been, I feel, if there was a structure. I guess that's why we tried to make our own, and then it was not great. But yeah, maybe for next time.
Really quickly, in regards to the future of voicing our concerns, when we came forward, we had an abundance of emails and videos. We actually received emails from students that even graduated recently are in different states with student testimonies coming forward about the injustice that was within the communications department. And I wanted to ask you, for the future, for the fall semester, are we still available to speak about this if there's no change? Because what I really don't want this conversation to be is a Band-Aid. I want there to really be, and I know we all feel this way, we've all spoken this way. We don't want there to just be a Band-Aid, like, oh, I'm sorry, we're good, okay, and then we don't speak about it again, there's no real change. President Ludwick, I'd ask you to please consider bringing back Caesar Wright for the fall,
A lot of the communication students are actually graduating in the fall. Maybe you can even speak to Lee Home about exactly. So that's my number one request is asking you, would you consider bringing back Caesar Wright for the fall semester? So we have that stability of probably having more classes that we can finish off with Caesar Wright present while you provide these instructors.
So I really like what you say about the continuing dialogue to create the fall semester. That's going to be an excellent one for you guys. So let's continue that conversation.
Can we meet with you over the summer to see if any of these concerns have been?
Sure, I'm always open to meet with folks. Now, she's sitting over here, right? I'll just also warn you that I'm out of town a lot in the summer. So we'll find a time that works for when I'm here, because I think that'll probably be easier. Okay. Sounds like we've run out of steam today. So thank you for coming and for talking, and I appreciate the feedback and hearing your concerns. And this is a dialogue that I hope continues, right? So we want to make this experience for you a really great one, and for those who come after you too. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thanks. Thank you.